always been very passionate about literature, literacy, about the power of words, and the effect that they can have on your life. And so when I was teaching, this was in 2011, my husband decided to run for city council here in Chicago. And my husband's name is Chase Smith. The rest of the world knows him by his rap name, which is Rhymefest. And one of the ideas that we had when he ran for office was to purchase a gravestone and to convert that into an art space for young people. And this was in the 20th Ward, which is Washington Park, a little piece of Hyde Park, back of the yards, in Inglewood. And so we lost that election in a runoff by about 200 votes. And, you know, we kind of started thinking, what were we most passionate about? Like, we don't have to necessarily be in office to move forward with some of the ideas. And the Art Center was the one that we were just both equally passionate about. And so we started making phone calls to people in our network. One of those folks was Kanye West, who my husband grew up with. And we decided to go ahead and launch Donda's House. It started as an idea, and then it took us 2 years to really build the infrastructure. And so we had to determine who our target population was going to be, what type of art would we focus on. We had to put a board together, all of the stuff that it takes to start a nonprofit. And then in August of 2013, we launched our first program. August 1st, you know, we started recruiting and all of that good stuff. And so, yeah, we have been in business now for a little over 4 years, and we've served a little over 500 youth, ages 14 to 24, directly in the city. Absolutely. So Donda's House is named after Dr. Donda West, who is the mother of Kanye West. And what people don't know about Dr. West was that when Kanye was a teenager, she actually built a recording studio in her home, and she would allow young people in the neighborhood to come and record with her son. At that time, studios were kind of seedy places that, you know, a parent wouldn't necessarily want their teenage child to, you know, to be a part of. And so these guys and a few young women would come and record. And my husband was one of those young people, and he credits her with introducing him to literature. She gave him a Maya Angelou book, and even though she didn't know anything about hip hop, she used to offer them advice because her expertise was also in English. She was the dean of the English department at Chicago State. And to think about this woman who was literally just a mother, every day, you know, she would work with young adults as her, you know, 9 to 5, her full-time job, and then she would come home to a house full of young men that she mentored. And it was that mentorship that led to songs like Jesus Walks, you know, songs like the Oscar award-winning song Glory, which my husband co-wrote, because she used to challenge them to do what she called share their truth. And so, you know, a lot of young hip-hop artists feel like they have to really talk about things that may not actually be a part of their experiences, because they think that, you know, really a lot of people are looking for validation. And so people will do anything, you know, or say anything to get that validation. And she used to push back against that. Donda's House is really about teaching young people how to discover the power in their voice and the power in their experiences, and then to translate that into their art. And so our programs we have several. Our signature program is called Got Bars, and that is for young aspiring vocalists and musicians. And then we have a program called Project Us that we share with Harold Washington Library's U Media, which is the program that Chance the Rapper actually recorded his first mixtape. And many people don't know that about him. He was totally impacted by having access to a free studio as a teenager, where he would go and record music. And then there's a program called Commonwealth, and so that's a fashion, media, and music program. the Behind series, where we bring out high-profile musicians and industry executives to talk to young people in intimate settings. So far we've had Big Sean come in, we've had No ID come in, who you know, was just executive produced Jay-Z's 444 album. He's from Chicago. We've had Big Crit come in, and on, you know, just so many really high profile artists that come in a small intimate crowd. They can talk to young people. And then next year, 2018, we're launching a podcast that we're super excited about, so that young people can learn kind of the new business of radio. Yeah. And then we have also launching Now What, which is, they're going to be professional classes. Mm-hmm. So kind of like our Behind series, but more workshop style. And then we're also going to be launching Chicago hip hop tours as well in the spring of 2018. And so yeah, we have any young person who's interested in the arts. You know, we don't want income, and we don't want where they live to be able to impact their ability to access the arts. So everything that we do for our students is 100% free for them. And our programs are very robust. And the students, when they finish, they're a part of a peer network, which is really one of my most favorite components of DONDA'S House, is that we're really building a community of artists who are connected and who support each other, and ultimately who we hope will stay in Chicago. So I actually grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and I went to high school in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and moved to Chicago to go to college. I was a first generation college student and had the opportunity to attend DePaul University. So I moved here about 16 years ago now to go to school. And growing up for me was incredibly difficult. I am the daughter of a person who was addicted to crack cocaine. My mother was also incarcerated starting at the age of 4, and pretty much through all of my formative years she was in prison. Shortly after my mom got in prison, I was a survivor of sexual assault. And at that time, the thing that was really my saving grace were actually two things: journaling and writing poetry. And so in order to deal with the trauma of, also grew up in a single parent household, I mean, pretty much all of the statistics that young people in Chicago on the South Side, African American, Hispanic, that they deal with, I dealt with. And I think that from a very young age, I told myself that when I had the opportunity, I would offer young people those things that were offered to me that really made a difference in my life. I would say, if you want to be involved with DONDA'S House, we're always looking for volunteers. Volunteers have really been like the lifeblood of our organization, and so we've been really fortunate to have folks who, the woman who started our, really got us a good foundation for us in marketing, full-time works for a company called Starcom. And she manages the Lego client. At one point she had the Final Four as her client, and so if we were to compensate, her name is Brittany, if we were to compensate Brittany for all of the work that she's done for us, we'd be bankrupt, because she's so gifted, and she calls DONDA'S House her 5 to 9, and she calls it her by blessing job. And so we're looking for folks like that who have a skill set that they want to offer to DONDA'S House to support the mission. And you can go on our website. Our next volunteer orientation will be, I believe, January 27th, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. in our at Diet High School. And so if you're interested, you can just email us at hello@dondashhouseinc.org if you want to get involved. And then, of course, we always welcome donations. We're actually, on Giving Tuesday, going to be launching our end of year campaign. And our goal, we're trying to raise $100,000 because we're going to be building a resource library in our new office, so that any young person who wants to come and like use the computers, use Photoshop, you know, which is super expensive if you want to purchase it on your own, let alone if you don't have a computer or a laptop. We want to purchase books, you know. It also helps to, donations also help to give transportation stipends so our students can get to and from our program safely. We're also looking for donations in order that we can continue to compensate artists. And so in many cases, DONDA'S is a first employer for many of our young people. It's the first time that they're getting a check to do things like host events, work events, to do things like help us with our social media, etc. We believe in exhibiting our philosophy, and if our philosophy is that young people should get paid for their talent and for their art, we try to exemplify that by paying young people for their art and for their time and for those things. And so donations help to support that as well. And our goal is to get 5,000 individuals to give $20 before December 31st. And we have we have a calendar set through June, which is the end of the school year of 2018. We're doing, 2 days a week for about 8 hours a day of office hours in where the library is going to be. And then we're also doing 5 programs a month outside of school hours for workshops, events, etc. So any donation, we welcome, and you can access that on our website, which is DONDA'sHouseInc.org. You can just click donate and make a contribution. And we're very grateful, and of course even more so our students and the community that we serve are grateful. Yeah, super active on social media. On all platforms we're at DONDA'S, and we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Would actually love people to tune in starting on November 30th. Our end of the year campaign is called Rewrite the Narrative. And we also use our social media to advocate and to, bring awareness to issues. And so what we're really dealing with is stereotypes about artists and about the South Side of Chicago. And so we have a beautiful, we did a beautiful photo shoot shot by alums of DONDA'S. The campaign will feature 4 of our artists who have done amazing work this year, and you'll learn more about them. There'll be videos, and there'll be a very powerful visual campaign that will last November 30th through December 31st. So please tune into that to just, really think about, and our young people who are involved in the campaign, they also shared some of the things that they've been told about themselves that were negative, and they're kind of pushing back against things like starving artists, folks laughing in their faces when they talk about what they want to do with their lives, that kind of thing. So it'll be very inspirational and very powerful. We are on YouTube, and we just launched a Cypher series last month, and so every Friday we feature a different hip-hop artist from Chicago, and this is all ages, so you don't have to be 14 to 24, you can be any age. And yeah, every Friday there's a really dope cypher, and you can go on social media and on YouTube to watch that.